This is the first of 4 stories written by Alan Sidway, who lives on the south coast of England, in Hastings. This story is called Cause and Effect, consisting of a battle between wizard armies and the goblin hordes. The year of our Lord, 1345, the worst winter in living memory. The world of man was about to end because Hector the wizard and his like could find nothing in their hundreds of books and powders to save it. They had nothing powerful enough to stop the rampaging armies of monsters and fire-breathing dragons from winning. The destruction of the complete southern trolls had left the wizards exhausted, and the monsters had used this weakened state to strike hard. It had taken 30 years to have a strong enough spell of enticement to trap all the trolls. This depended entirely on the trolls' love of parties and thick, strong ale. When the specially brewed ale, heavily laced with a sleeping drug, but tasting fantastic, was swigged back, sleep followed in 2 hours. Every single one had slept soundly, so deep that with the rising sun, their exposed bodies were turned to boulders, forever stone. But these were stupid enemies, the monsters being far more powerful and of many different types. Led by the all-supreme reptile, Thone, thousands of his hideous followers would wipe out all decent life on the planet. Many times spells had almost worked. Although very powerful, they were just not good enough to stop the monsters. They would need to take all the monsters' powers away, but how seemed an impossibility. In the harsh, snowbound winters of that year, Hector had a visit from Long, the greatest magician in the land called China. He travelled everywhere by dragons, one of the last of the friendly talking green dragons. This creature was thought to be 800 years old, but was still full of energy and had a wicked sense of fun. Using their spells from a dark secret time when there were many dragons, this intelligent enchanter could see the forces of good to combine. Longjaw and his dragon were prepared to add their spells to any mixed by the Northern Hemisphere wizards. If they failed, the sane, decent world would be smothered forever. Through those long winter nights and long, dim, misty days, all kinds of weird spells were attempted. Some worked as planned, others worked really well, but not as planned. All the wizards sat round a great stone table, bathed in the heat from a huge log fire. The excess mental energy could be seen as a series of tiny sparks twinkling from their pointed hats, rising slowly to the ceiling where they danced together. The first time the green dragon entered the room, he sneezed. Something in the burning logs were aggravating his large nostrils. With a loud second sneeze, he blew over 2 test tubes, mixing the liquids together on the tabletop. This fluid started to spin, slowly rising. It stood shimmering, tall like a snake about to strike. 2 different colors intertwined like a stick of barley sugar. Longjaw approached the mass with a long silver tube in his hand. With great care, he put the tube over the stick of liquid, tilting it and putting a stopper in place with one movement. He explained to the bewildered wizards that never before had these 2 elements been joined, topped with the powerful dragon's sneeze. This could be the spell maker they needed. With spring only weeks away, the snowdrifts will start to melt, making travelling much easier. The monsters would be on the rampage again. Time was already flying by. After just 2 weeks, the wizards unlocked the secret of the intertwined liquids. Well, that's what they would like you to believe. Now the truth. Thanks to information from gigantic leather-bound spell books written hundreds of years ago, hidden by hooded monks, the world would be safe. Forever and ever, prayed the old monk. Nothing's forever, whispered Hector. How long will the world be safe? Geoffrey, a young wizard, asked, voice not yet broken but sounding very frightened. "We have cast the spell everywhere. If you're a monster or evil fire-breathing dragon, you are no more." Hector grinned at the youngster, still not convinced. "You've told me all spells can be broken. Yes, you can only make a spell if at the same time a spell is cast that can't banish. The original enchantment." Hector was getting bored with all this talking. "That is why the banishment has to be impossible to break. Believe me, if the monsters break free from this spell, it will be the end of mankind." "But what are the conditions that you are so certain could never be reached?" Hector looked at the young man and smiled gently. "It would have to be something 20 times brighter than the sun. At the same time, have a mighty wind force so powerful it pushes buildings out of its path. That's impossible." Geoffrey gave a deep sigh as if all his worldly worries had evaporated. "Brighter than the sun, that's impossible." Giving a high-pitched giggle, he started a comical impression of laughter. This made Hector wail even louder. "As I said, young man, impossible. Come on, I'll take you to the tavern. Maybe a schnapps will help break that voice of yours." On August the 6th, 1945, an atomic bomb was dropped on Japan. Observers said it was 20 times brighter than the sun, creating terrible building-destroying winds.